The arrow pointing through the second toe is where we'd like to align the tibia and align the knee if we were doing strength training of some type, maybe squats, wall sits, monster walks, if you know what monster walks are. And that's a position of stability. When we walk, we actually roll through the big toe joint as we go through the push-off phase. When we dance, we use the edges of the feet and the weight moving around in the bones much more pronounced than when we simply walk. So in any forward progressive action, we'll use more pronation than normal. Now, an unhealthy amount would be, of course, if the whole foot were to fall over or the knee would move too far inside there. But the knee is going to move through that joint where the first arrow is moving when we go forward or move into sideways movements. And there are some movements where we dance more through the midfoot, not so much through the second toe, but across the foot into the outer toes. Never out so far that we're going through the little toe joint there and dropping the ankle. Today we'll take a look at the progressive link and also the progressive side step. It's a good idea to practice the progressive side step and get the feeling of using the edges properly and get the feeling between the thighs that we want in the tango, that tone, to get control over the side steps before we try to do the progressive link and add the action of turning into promenade. We don't often see the progressive side step used in bronze competitions. I think one of the reasons is maybe that it's very difficult to make it look good. And also it's not a particularly flashy action, but it's a very, very good training tool for developing, as I said, the feet and ankles and the action through the base. So we'll start with the progressive side step, and then basically that's the same action for the progressive link, but we have to add the turn to promenade. With the progressive side step then, as man is forward in CBMP, side and slightly back on the inside edge of the foot to the whole foot, and forward again in CBMP. And for the lady, back in CBMP, the inside edge of ball heel because she's moving backward, so we're having that more soft place to land, and then back into CBMP. The man's foot placement will be the same on the progressive link, but he'll add a rotation of his thighs and body to the right. So it's described normally as diagonal wall, but our body is actually going to be somewhere between diagonal wall and wall as I lead my partner. The placement of the foot in the technique, side and slightly back, this is where the foot lands. At the end of the step is where we will write down the technique. So it's helpful sometimes to clarify for the students that the leg is traveling forward much more than it's traveling sideways. So as my spine moves, the leg catches up and ends to the side. So we don't get such a huge side step. Or sometimes we'll have the students doing something like this, a big swivel. You place that foot, and you need to move that leg up underneath the right shoulder blade, approach from the inside edge. So again, we're going through that first metatarsal joint, but the foot is much flatter here, and then the weight will roll across the feet again, finishing on the inside edge of the ball of the left foot. Carry on if it's progressive side step, and if it's progressive link, you'll see much more activity rotating now to the right to open the partner. For the lady, the progressive side step, the foot ending slightly back, and back into CBMP. In the progressive link, we'll take a look just at the backward step in Tango. When she's approaching, because of the CBMP and the curving, we're entering the foot more through this area where this arrow is drawn. But instead of going out of the foot, going into the foot. Her heel will normally kiss the floor. How much that's felt depends, of course, the height of the lady's heel and how the man is dancing the link and when he delivers the lead. The main thing is for the lady to have a flexible and receiving type of foot, that she doesn't have a hard foot held up on a forced arch, trying to turn from there, or this, she doesn't dump into it. Frequently the ladies will actually turn the foot out and land on a flat foot. So she needs to be constantly preparing her walk from the internal rotation of the right leg, and again feeling that we're entering the walk through this part of the foot. So practicing that rock in the proper position is a good way for the lady to learn their control, and then doing the little turn on the foot. She ends up with her foot side and slightly back, and again because of the rotation and her foot being back, it's described as ball heel. So again, it's a very receptive foot and not a flat foot. And then this one is reshaped to the inside edge, which again is that first metatarsal joint, hopefully with the toes not squeezed but open. So of course it's more difficult for the lady in her pumps to do this kind of action because sometimes the shoe can be tight, so we want the shoe to allow for the foot and the toes to be open and the movement across the bones, then on into promenade position.